Alright, pproteus here, back for round number 5 of the Pauper challenge with Inside Out. I'm looking at this hand and it's got an obvious problem. I have nothing to do on turn 1 and I also don't have white mana. But I'm not going to mulligan it because I have an augur and I'm on the play. On the draw, the augur gets a little worse because I might get counterspelled, but counterspell decks are rough matchups anyways. Basically, I think this deck has good matchups against every deck that doesn't play counterspell. And I'm going to include Boros in that. The reason this deck is a good matchup against Boros, at least I think, is that you need to, or the Boros deck needs to try to interact on the combo turn, but they just don't have that much red mana. Ponder, I'm taking over Circular Logic because I want to be able to find my white mana as soon as possible. If the game goes really late, I'm probably not going to be able to beat Boros. But early, I think I'm in quite good shape. So Ponder, seeing Probe, Inside Out, Ponder. I'm going to draw the Ponder. I did that wrong. I should have drawn the Probe. Like, I want the Probe. Well, this is giving me a chance to draw something else. So then I augur, seeing the Inside Out, the Probe, and the Dispel. So I took the Ponder the first time. I don't want Inside Out. Probe and Dispel are both decent options. I think I just don't want the Dispel. I'm going to take the Probe. I'm hoping I will find white mana actually next turn, so I'm hoping for an Ash Barrens. Then we resolve the Tireless Tribe, and then my opponent is going to be on the back foot. Because they're not going to be able to do anything. They're going to have to react to me. I'm going to start with the Ponder, I'm going to start with the Probe before I Ponder, because I want to know what to be playing around. So my opponent's hand is Ancient Den, Forgotten Cave, Secluded Steppe, and then Firebolt, Galvanic Blast, and Skyfisher. Okay, so land, cycle land, Galvanic Blast, Firebolt, Skyfisher. So they have one piece of instant speed interaction. So I'm looking pretty good if I can, if I can just find a white source. There's the Ash Barrens. That's what I wanted. And I can also put an augur. No, I can't cast the augur. Okay, but I am going to draw the augur, because augur's a good card. And then I'm going to go get my planes, and then cast Circular Logic, or hold up Circular Logic, in case my opponent draws a Journey. So I think I'm in good shape here, where I win unless my opponent has something very specific to interact with me. Also, I'm going to attack, because I can. I'm not facing Ninja. There's not really much downside to making this attack. My opponent is casting Galvanic Blast, targeting Tireless Tribe. That was the one instant speed piece of interaction. Alright, I'm just going to ditch my augur. Firebolt here. I shouldn't have ditched the augur, because I should have seen this plan coming. So my opponent's plan is to run me out of enough cards that I can't go off, and I need to force me to have Gush. And I don't have Gush, so it's going to be a little awkward. I'm going to discard Circular Logic because I need the 2 combo pieces here, and I'm not going to pay for it because I just need the Tribe ability to resolve. Oh, awkward. So if I draw Gush, then I win the game. So I'm going to ditch Circular Logic again. I don't need it. My opponent doesn't have anything this is good against. Unless they have a Galvanic plot. No, they can't because there's the Sky Fisher. Turn probably Prophetic Prism. Okay. Gush and I win. Gush and I win. Nope, I hit land, tribe, shuffle. Well, that's awkward. I can go looking for the Gush. I'd rather not. I'd rather just wait. One has 3 lands in their hand, plus Prism. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure whether or not I screwed up there with the Augur. Obviously, if I'd known I was going to end up with the Tribe, I would have not blocked, or not discarded to save it. I'm just going to pass again. I'm just going to cycle the Forgotten Cave. That's fine. By the way, when I said the matchup is good, it's not I crush them type good, but I feel in control for at least the first 5 turns, and I'm capable of winning with most of my hands in the first 5 turns. Alchemist Vial is not actually that bad because I can go into combat before I start to go off, and that means that my opponent is going to have to activate Vial before knowing if I'm ready to go off. Okay, so Preordained hitting land, Circular Logic. I'm going to put the Circular Logic on top, and I'm going to go off next turn. Or maybe I should go off now to play around the Vial. Like, they Vial me next turn, and they Firebolt me, and I have to counter it. If I had known they were going to top deck a Vial, I guess I would have... Well, I needed the 5th card, though. I don't know any of my opponent's cards. They have I've drawn a quarter of their deck and a quarter of their instant speed burn spells. So that's not actually very informative. So if let's say I don't attack, opponent hits. If my opponent has a burn spell, I'm probably dead anyways, so I should attack. Because they're going to attack me down to 6, and the Vial on my turn, and then attack me down to 2, flash back the Firebolt, and then use their burn spell. So I'm not going to be able to beat that, and they have more burn spells left in their deck than I have counters. So I should just go for it now. And if I get screwed over, then I get screwed over. Do you have it? My opponent didn't have it 2 turns ago. But they've drawn 4 cards, so they can. They might have it. But it's actually unlikely that they have it. Alright. I'm all in. My opponent thinking because they want to. Who knows? Who knows? I feel like my opponent has it just because of the way the length of time they're spending waiting. Alright. So they got me. They got me. I wasn't going to be able to catch up. So, that's not really what I wanted to have happen. I'm going to side in Disenchant. And I'm going to side in at least one Piracy Charm. Maybe the second one, because they're going to bring in Standard Bearer against me. Yeah, I'll probably choose 2 of those. I'm going to side out Dispels. I like Giga Drowse because it works, kind of. Especially it taps Vials. And I think that's it. I think that's it. So I just want to say that the reason things kind of didn't work out super well that game was because I didn't draw Gush. And I've got 4 Gushes in the deck, and I went through a lot of cards there and didn't see one. And if I drew a Gush and then was able to go off earlier, I would have just won. So I'm going to keep this hand for, same reason. There has to be a huge flaw to mulligan with this deck. So I'm seeing Gush, Dispel, Piracy Charm. I don't really want Dispel or Piracy Charm, although it is possible I want Piracy Charm. Okay, well I definitely don't want Dispel, so I'm putting Dispel on top, followed by Piracy Charm, followed by Gush. I'm not going to shuffle. And I think my plan is to just Ash Barrens. And I'm going to draw the Piracy Charm. Because I don't have a great way to deal with Standard Bearer. Or really any way to deal with Standard Bearer other than the Piracy Charm. So I better be ready in case my opponent has that. I'm still missing a tribe. I'd like to draw a shadow. Oh shit! I did not mean to do that. That was a misclick. I was trying to hit an island, and the reason is, in case you didn't realize, you want to play your islands first, if you possibly can. Hopefully it won't cost me. I mean, hopefully I just draw my Tyros tribe here, and it doesn't cost me one bit. Okay, just gonna do nothing. Hold up my circular logic, which is more like a, what's that card called? Well, let's just say Spell Shrivel. Does it cost 3 mana? I can counter that. Like that might be, it might be worth it, honestly. No, I'm not doing it. Especially because it means that a vial goes back into my opponent's hand. Garrison is fine. Opponent has to discard the hand size. Ponder. Hello. I hit Gush, Brainstorm, Circular Logic. Huh. Well, I could keep Brainstorm, but then the cards I'm shuffling away are Gush and Circular Logic. So I think I'm just going to shuffle. Alright. Another basic plane, so I can cast Circular Logic again. I'm going to consider casting Circular Logic on the vial. Because vial is something that I'm going to have to deal with. My opponent apparently thinks that's a good use of mana. And yes, I go down a card, but then my opponent also doesn't get the card back. So I think I counter it. I haven't really experimented with this land play much against Boros, but it seems not awful. Maybe they have another one, and so it's awful. But I played enough Boros to know that sometimes it's the thing you're most afraid of that they're going to counter your artifacts, and sometimes you absolutely hope they're going to counter your artifacts. So it's pretty funny for that reason. Electrickery. Alright. What do I do here? I think I have to gush. And I'm going to not... The Evolving Wilds is basically an island. I guess I can get slight advantage from thinning like this. Maybe it's correct to... Oh boy, this is really hard to generate. I'm sorry. Maybe I can get a... Maybe it was better to leave up 2 blue mana. That's all I'm trying to say. Journey to Nowhere. Okay. That's not resolving. Yep, okay. So, obviously, a Journey to Nowhere is a little bit harder to deal with than the other things they might have. Which then is okay. Oh, they had a second one? Alright. They got me. Maybe I'll find my disenchant. And my opponent is going to kill me somewhat soon, but not so soon that I can't recover. So I'm looking at Shadow Rift, Preordained Circular Logic. And Shadow Rift is a piece that I'm missing, so I'm not going to shuffle that away. And then Preordain is going to be great, so I'm putting Shadow Rift on the top, and then Preordain, and then Circular Logic. I would probably put circular logic on the bottom because I don't have a lot of time to find a tribe. Vile, that's not good. Do I have to counter that? Because this is just going to buy my opponent a turn. I can't really afford that, so I think I do have to counter it. They have 2 cards left in their hand. I don't have any protection, but I have to win actually next turn. So my opponent can kill me in 2 hits. And I also probably need the circular logic. So let's put the circular logic on top because I want 1 piece of interaction. Ooh, disenchant. I like it. I like it. That was what I wanted. Disenchant is my 2-mana Flash Tireless Tribe, which also doubles as a 2-mana Stone Rain. I haven't managed to do it yet, but you know, sometimes your opponent goes Ancient Den into Boros Garrison and you get them with a disenchant because they weren't expecting it. I could also die to no, I can't die to Galvanic Blast because my opponent doesn't have Metalcraft. And I can beat now 2 instants. Well, my opponent could have at most 2 instants. Sorry, I can only beat 1. Unless the second one is anemic. Like something I can counter with Piracy Charm. They'd have to play badly to let me counter an instant with a Piracy Charm. But it's possible. If they let me resolve the Inside Out, then Piracy Charm gives my tribe -1/+2. And with -1/+2, they'll have 3 toughness and it can survive a Galvanic Blast. My opponent is Galvanic Blasting my face. Uh-oh. But they don't have Metalcraft, so that's not enough. Do they have lethal? Because I can't stop them if they do. Because I tapped out. Huh. It would have been pretty funny if they went for the lethal, and then I was able to disenchant into Circular Logic in response. But they got me. I can't beat that. Alright. 4-1. I think I made some mistakes here. I think I made some mistakes in most of my matches though, but they weren't they didn't end up mattering for one reason or another. This deck is so decision intensive that you can do really small things, and every decision you make is small. Whereas when I play Stompy, there are a lot fewer decisions to make. I mean, still a lot of decisions because in Stompy also I have a low land count and all my spells cost 1. But the decisions matter a lot and there are fewer. Here there are a ton of decisions and they're kind of incremental. So it's a very different game plan for me who's not used to playing blue decks and power formats. So anyways, 1 loss isn't bad. See you in the next round.